What's crackin', peeps, and welcome back to another episode of Hello Neighbor.
Hey guys, there's been quite a lot of Battlefront news over the past couple of weeks regarding the current game out now and the next one set to release later this year. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the news as I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of it. Plus, Star Wars HQ and Battlefront updates already have videos covering it. But to summarize, for the sake of clarity for this video, in essence, there is no more Skirmish content planned for this Battlefront. However, it has been confirmed that we will be getting a full story mode campaign for the next upcoming Battlefront installment that's coming out later this year. With that said, this is both extremely exciting and a bit tense as well. When EA's Battlefront came out in 2015, it received extreme criticism for lacking an efficient amount of single-player content. After many posts on their official forums, Twitter, and Facebook accounts asking about the single-player content, Peter Moore and a handful of the developers responded towards this criticism regarding a single-player campaign. However, that's not what most players were asking about. Although most players wanted a campaign, they knew that EA or DICE wouldn't release a full-on campaign after the game's initial launch. Instead, Skirmish was brought into Battlefront as the next best thing, which is great, and not only is it what players wanted in the first game, but it's also what we would like to see return in the second game as well, but obviously a little bit more hashed out. The thing that slightly worries me though is EA only giving us a campaign, thinking it's what players only wanted in the first place. I'm hoping EA and DICE don't respond to the single-player criticism they received from their first game by giving their next installment just a single-player campaign. With the recent announcement for their next Battlefront game, they made sure to state that they were adding in a campaign mode, probably to address any concerns about it lacking single-player content. However, what a lot of people were requesting for their first game was actually to be able to enjoy their favorite game modes offline against bots, which is what Skirmish was shaping up to be. The multiplayer mechanics for customization and the freedom to be able to select your own maps, modes, and skins is exactly what players wanted to be able to experience offline against bots. Peter Moore's comment about how nobody plays campaign modes in these types of shooter games may be true to some degree or another. But what isn't true is the fact that being able to play your favorite game mode as much as you want on different difficulties using different playstyles is what keeps replayability in the realm of playing offline. Now, it's very possible that the team working on the single-player campaign mode for the next Battlefront will make it awesome with some replayability elements to it, but it would also be nice to have an instant action or skirmish type mode as well, so that players could have a bit more of an expansive, unrestricted experience with playing offline. If you think back to the training missions in the current Battlefront, sure, they are replayable to some degree, but most players who enjoy Star Wars don't just want flashy cutscenes followed by gameplay. Single-player gamers, especially Star Wars fans, want that same sandbox experience that was promised to online players in the first game. Gamers like myself want to be able to create our own Star Wars battle fantasies and truly live out our own experiences based on how we shape those experiences, which stem from how the developers allow us to experience the game. The original Battlefront games had exactly that, in which you could create your own Star Wars experience at your own pace in the exact way you wanted by using playlists and many game modes to choose from. It's the exact model a lot of us Battlefront fans are hoping the next Battlefront has. If any developers are watching, basically just add an intensely buffed up skirmish mode alongside your campaign, and not only will you please a lot of fans, but you'll regain their hope and trust back, as many people felt unsatisfied from the first game. The criticism I have with a game that only has a campaign mode and no other single player modes to it is that a campaign is rather linear. Now, whether they let us choose to play as the Rebels or the Imperials, the entire story mode is pretty much scripted. While this isn't a bad thing, offline gamers want to feel like their experience is new and fresh each time they play, especially in a franchise like Star Wars and Battlefront. Players want to take control of their customized characters or their favorite hero and embark on whatever fantasy they can come up with that isn't restricted to a set storyline, canon or not. By giving us just a campaign, players are restricted to only being able to play certain maps and game modes that are set specifically in the campaign, meaning if there's a Walker Assault mission on Hoth and only Hoth, then it looks like you're only going to play Walker Assault on Hoth in that scripted mission. If the campaign only allows you to take control of Luke Skywalker on the Death Star to fight Darth Vader, it looks like you won't be able to ever use Luke to take down Boba Fett or the Emperor on Tatooine if that's what your Star Wars Battlefront fantasy calls for, and only if you play offline in single player. With a buffed up skirmish mode, players are granted the ability to play out these hypothetical scenarios at any time they want and in the exact manner that they want. An instant action or skirmish type mode gives players the freedom to experiment and play endlessly the way that they wish to play, which is most likely why Battlefront 2 from 2005 can be purchased from Amazon for about $100 over a decade after being released on a system that is now outdated. The sandbox experience is endless with that game, and is what we want to see in EA's next Battlefront. So if Skirmish is added to the next Battlefront, here are the major things I personally want to see, and I know other players can vouch for as well. Now, this is not my complete list, but more so the major things I would like to see. So the first major thing I would like to see is hero AI. I want to be able to take on bot-controlled heroes as another hero, or work with my AI bot-controlled team to take down these major threats on the battlefield. If I want to take down Darth Vader as Jyn Erso, I should be able to do that in a skirmish instant action type game mode. Plus the option to turn on and off heroes would be great as well, along with the option to randomize the heroes that appear, or set specific heroes that you would like to appear on the battlefield. The second thing I want to see is all game modes and maps available. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. I'd prefer not being restricted to a space battle mission above Scarif as my only way to play as an X-Wing in space. If there are multiplayer modes and maps that have Walker Assault or Fighter Squadron type game modes, it should exist in single player as well against bots. The third thing I would like to see is full customization. Just like the first game, if I can select my skin, emotes, and star cards in multiplayer, I should be able to experience that in single player as well. The fourth thing I would like to see is a playlist option. Just like the original Battlefront, players should be able to create playlists of their desired game modes and desired maps and have them play in the order that they choose. A few people on the official Battlefront forum talked about how they created their own single player story by playing the available maps and game modes that were available in single player in a specific order so that they were able to shape their own story. We want to be able to do that in the next Battlefront game as well. Finally, the fifth major thing I would like to see, and I know a lot of other players would like to see as well, is the ability to do all this via split screen. Ideally, a 1-to-4 player skirmish type mode would be awesome, or perhaps a Galactic Conquest type mode that can be played 1-to-4 local players as well. But if that's pushing it, then the ability to play your favorite modes and maps with another friend via split screen would truly be the icing on the cake. Actually, I guess whatever they plan on doing with the multiplayer in the next Battlefront is what single players should be able to do as well. If you guys don't already know, back when EA's Battlefront was first released, I made a thread on their official forums regarding more single player content. The thread blew up with popularity amongst the community and is why we got Skirmish in the game in the first place. However, it was a joint effort among everyone who agreed and was truly passionate with the fact that the game needed more single player content. As of February 2nd, 2017, the thread has been officially closed down, but the movement we've created, Soloplayersmatter, still lives on. We now have an official forum to discuss all Battlefront and single player games alike, created by a good friend of mine, Ethan, also known as Heat Advisory, among the Battlefront community. We also have an official Facebook page that a lot of people are a part of, so if you're interested in discussing all things related, there will be links in the description below to everything. So in summary, let's hope that EA's next Battlefront installment has an equal amount of single player options as it does online multiplayer options. If there's anything else you want to see included in Skirmish mode, if EA does indeed add it to their next Battlefront, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let's try to get the developers of the next Battlefront game to see this video so that they understand our perspective on the whole single player and Battlefront topic. Be sure to like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos similar to this. Peace out. Also, this is the part where I scream incredibly loud now, so you have been warned. Ah.